I have a file on my laptop. It is password protected. It has been password protected for 4 years. My wife does not know it exists. My former supervisor does not know it exists. The National Park Service definitely does not know it exists. It contains 5 cases. 5 incidents that I personally witnessed, personally documented, and was personally ordered to delete, deny, and never speak about again. I kept copies. Not because I am brave. Not because I am a whistleblower. But because what I saw in those forests does not deserve to be buried in a government folder labeled inconclusive and forgotten forever. My name is Aaron Cross. I was a park ranger for 12 years across 3 different national forests. I have seen things that cannot be explained by wildlife, weather, geography, or any natural phenomenon currently recognized by science. I am telling you these 5 cases tonight because 3 weeks ago I received an email from an address I did not recognize. It contained one line. "We know you kept the files, Aaron. So at this point I have nothing left to lose." Case 1. A family of 4 went missing on a Tuesday afternoon in June. Clear weather. Marked trail. Experienced hikers. They checked in at the ranger station at 2 p.m. and were due back by 6. At 8 p.m. we went in. We found their campsite exactly where it should have been. Tent still standing. Food still on the camp stove. 4 sleeping bags laid out perfectly. Boots lined up outside the tent like they had been placed there deliberately. No footprints leaving the campsite. In any direction. The soil around that campsite was soft from rain the previous night. You could not take a single step without leaving a print. We checked every inch of ground in a 200-foot radius. They had simply stopped existing inside that campsite. We found them 6 hours later sitting in a circle 3 miles away in a section of forest with no trail access. Eyes open. Completely unresponsive. Holding hands. When they came back, the father asked me one question before he asked about his children, before he asked where he was, before he said a single word to his wife. He looked at me and said, "Did you hear it counting?" I filed the report as disorientation due to dehydration. My supervisor crossed that out and wrote, "Resolved, no further action." Case 2. Twist here lands hard. Stay with me. A solo hiker reported something outside his tent 3 nights in a row. Footsteps. Circling. Always 12 steps, then 1 more directly outside the zip. I know. I have heard this before too. When we retrieved him on day 4 he handed me an envelope. Inside were 6 photographs. Printed photographs, not phone images, printed on photographic paper, left under a stone outside his tent each morning. He had not printed them. He did not own a printer. He had not seen another human being for 4 days. Each photograph showed his campsite from above. Each one taken at a different time of night. Each one showing something standing closer to his tent than the last. The 6th photograph was different. It was not taken from above. It was taken from inside his tent. While he was sleeping. His face clearly visible. Eyes closed. Completely unaware. On the back of the 6th photograph in handwriting that was not his were 4 words. I reported this case. My full report with all 6 photographs attached. 3 days later my supervisor called me in and told me the photographs had been lost in a system error. He slid a single sheet across the desk. A pre-written statement for me to sign saying I had never received any photographs from any hiker. I signed it. Then I went home and scanned every photograph I had kept in my jacket pocket. Case 3. This is the one that made me quit. Almost. 7-year-old boy. Vanished from campsite in under 40 seconds while his father was 10 feet away. We searched for 3 days. K9 units refused to enter the north section entirely. Dogs whimpering, tails locked, handlers dragging them by the collar and getting nowhere. We found him on day 3 sitting inside a hollow log. Physically unharmed. Not a scratch. But here is the twist nobody talks about. When we brought him back to his parents, he walked directly past his mother without recognizing her. He sat down in the corner of the medical tent and stared at the wall for 6 hours. Then he started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always stopping at 5. His mother called me 2 weeks later. He had not spoken a single word since coming home. But every night at exactly 3 a.m. she could hear him in his room, counting to 5. I drove to their house. I sat with the boy for an hour. Before I left, I asked him what was at 5. He turned and looked at me for the first time. He said, "The last step. That is where it sits and waits." I have not slept a full night since. Case 4. Surveyed trail. Marked on every map. Walked by thousands of hikers every single year. One morning it was 15 feet further north than it had been the previous evening. Not overgrowth. Not erosion. Not a mapping error. The trail had physically moved. Soil disturbed. Roots displaced. As if the ground itself had shifted the path to somewhere it preferred. 3 rangers saw it, including me. We measured it. We photographed it. We reported it. The official response from the Park Service was 4 words. Measurement error. Case closed. The trail moved again 6 weeks later. This time 20 feet. This time toward the north section where the dogs refused to go. We stopped reporting it after that. Case 5. I am going to be careful here because this one is not closed. 8 months ago a hiker went missing in the same forest where I worked for 12 years. Standard missing persons case. Routine search. Found within 48 hours. The hiker they found was not the hiker who went missing. Same name on the ID. Same physical description. Same clothing down to a tear on the left sleeve that the family confirmed existed before he left. But his wife took one look at him and walked out of the medical tent and sat in the parking lot for 3 hours and refused to go back in. When I asked her what was wrong, she said 6 words. That is not my husband's walk. That case is still open. That hiker is currently living in their family home. And 2 weeks ago his wife disappeared. I still have the file. I still have the photographs. I received a second email yesterday from the same unknown address. This one had no text. Just an attachment. A photograph. Of my front door. Taken last night. I have not opened my front door since. If you have worked in any national forest and you know what I am talking about, you already know not to say it out loud. But you can tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe to the Midnight Files. Some forests are not natural. Some things inside them are not either. And some of them have learned how to use email.